Good morning, world.
Good morning out there. Well, Brian and I decided since today is the official last day in office for President Trump, very much like a decorated athlete going out his final game, they do a highlight reel. Brian, I thought it'd be a good idea to do some highlights and accomplishments of Dr. Trump's tenure in office.
Yes, and like a good journalist, I will be doing the fact-checking.
Exactly. I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian, and this is Cedric and Brian. All right, so like Cedric said, we're going to do list some of the accomplishments of the Trump administration, and we did get it off the website from, what was that?
Whitehouse.gov.
Whitehouse.gov. I'm going to put the links right here. I'm also going to put the link of, with anything that has to do with Trump and the Trump administration, you have to have the fact checkers, and they didn't disappoint. Of course, there's a fact check from the New York Times, as we knew there would be. So we'll bring up the points, and then I will bring up the hard fact check.
So even the fact checks were fact checked.
Yes, I didn't fact check the fact check. I'm going to let them stand as they are, and I'll put both links right here. One for the from the president or from the White House, and one from the New York Times.
Now I'll say this real quick. I've had friends on both sides. I've had some friends say, like, oh, that's pretty cool. Can you send me that link so I can, because I want to discuss with people what's going on, but I don't have any support. And I've had people on the left like, that's fake news. Check it out. The information is there. Like it says in a very good book, Wisdom Cries Aloud from the Streets. You can choose to ignore it, but we're going to provide it for you. If you ignore it, that's on you.
Yeah, so not only will I just put them up there for you, but they will be in the description of the video. So just go there. YouTube, I don't think they make it a clickable link, but just copy it and paste it into your browser, and you can check what we checked.
All right, let's roll the highlight reel. Where should we start at, my friend?
All right, well, you've got that, so let's just, there's so many things in this list of accomplishments. This would be way too long of a video, so we're just going to pick each category and kind of briefly touch on it.
Well, this one starts with the unprecedented economic boom, and there's an asterisk.
Yes.
Pre-coronavirus, pre-lockdown, we had the biggest economy, the biggest boom that our country's ever seen. The lockdowns hit, certain governors shut us down, others didn't. We'll talk about that later, maybe we won't. But it says, America gained 7 million new jobs, more than 3 times when the government reports predicted. 7 million new jobs pre-COVID. And a while ago, President Barack Obama said this is going to be almost impossible to bring back our economy. You would have to have a magic wand, and no one has a magic wand. And it looks like Donald Trump has joined the Penn and Teller. He's become a magician, and he waved that magic wand over our economy and brought back thousands of jobs to the U.S. So kudos to President Trump for doing that. Again, I'm going to say this over and over again. Fact check us if you want to.
All right, so now for the fact check, and this is from a Farrah Stockman, who is in the editorial board of the New York Times. Now, this was done a little bit earlier because this list has been out for a while. It was just updated recently, and that one is from January. This is a little bit older, but it hits on most of these. But like most news on both sides, I'm not going to say it's just the New York Times or CNN. If you don't read past the first couple paragraphs, you're just going to think, oh, everything that Trump said or the website says is a lie. Because here's what she says after saying she did her research and she fact-checked this. So she said, some takeaways. Few items are outright false, which is something to celebrate in the age of QAnon. So she's already setting you up like this whole thing is a conspiracy and a conspiracy theory. But on what Cedric just brought up there, she had to admit that was true.
I wish you did it kind of begrudgingly, like,
yeah,
it's true.
That's true.
Dang it.
We do have a good economy. But then she had to put in a little caveat about the most jobs created. She goes, well, there's more people now than there ever been in the United States. So, of course, there's going to be more. Okay. Just so you know, that's where it's coming from. But to her credit, she did say true.
Right. And I'm not going to make Brian fact check everything. Again, You guys do your homework. It also goes to say that the unemployment rate reached 3.5%, which was the lowest in half a century. But I guess that can be refuted, like you're saying, there's more people, so that's where the percentage dropped.
No, she admitted that one. She admitted that one. There again, go look at it. They've always got to add caveats, and we'll get to some specific ones. So again, don't go through this category was just talking about the economy before coronavirus. It was the most booming economy. Go look it up. Go look at her article. She has to admit it, but then she says, before COVID. Well, there was an asterisk. Yes. It was before COVID, obviously.
Right. And I told Brian I wanted to touch on this really quick because I thought it was important for me to touch on it because I heard a lot of people say, well, what has he done for blacks? What has he done for gays? What has he done for women? And like we said in a video a few weeks back, he reached historic votes in all those categories except for one category. Brian, what category was that?
White males.
It's a damn shame.
But he's a white supremacist.
Right.
Didn't you know?
Right. So here we go, real quick. Unemployment rates for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, Native Americans, veterans, individuals with disabilities, and those without a high school diploma all reached record lows. So everyone was getting jobs. Those of you who looked for jobs.
The fact checker here for the New York Times had to say, okay, that was true. What I found on here that she said, she talks about poverty rates being at an all-time low for African Americans and Hispanic Americans. She said this was true before the coronavirus pandemic. Well, yes.
Yes.
We know that.
And a lot of things were true before the pandemic.
Unemployment obviously went up. When the government tells you can't open your business, unemployment's going to go up.
Right. Here are a few, then we'll move on to another category. Nearly 7 million people were taken off food stamps. Poverty rates for African Americans and Hispanic Americans reached record lows. And the income inequality fell for 2 straight years and by the largest amount in over a decade. So President Trump, thank you, my good man, for doing what you did for the American economy and helping people find jobs for those of you who looked for jobs. Okay.
So how does the president who is a misogynist and a racist create the best outcome for women and minorities?
Maybe he's like Pharaoh, so he needed all of his pyramids built, so he needed to make sure there was some slave labor out there to I know I'm reaching.
And what we touched on before is how President Trump helped and gave money to the HBCUs, which is the historically black college and universities. Is that what it is?
Yep.
He said made HBCUs a priority by creating the position of executive director of the White House Initiative on HBCUs. So he actually assigned somebody that so that they could help those colleges. And the fact checker said, did she say false? No, she said true. This previously existing position was moved from the Department of Education to the White House. And then experts disagree on the impact, but from what we've gathered, it could only help, right?
Right. And I may be wrong in saying this, but what I understand is all these historically black colleges and universities had to come year after year and ask for funding. Trump made it so that for the next 10 years, that the funding was just there. And I got to say this one thing, and me and Brian, we're trying to make this a glowing report about President Trump, but I have one thing that really just bugs me about President Trump, and I have to get this off my chest. Brian, if you edit it, it's okay. I thought he was an incredible president, awesome president. But here's one thing that just really irritated me. President Trump, you sucked as a racist. The worst racist I've ever seen in my entire life. You just sucked at it. You failed. So that's all I wanted to say.
And I know there's going to be out there people that Trump, you don't like Trump because of he tends to exaggerate, shall we say. He speaks off the cuff. He's abrasive. I understand all of that. And we've talked about in the past, and that's why we're bringing up this list. You can hate the personality, but you cannot diminish what he accomplished in 4 years.
Right.
So, and he did help. All the things they were trying to say about him, and Cedric is bringing up all the things that he did for what they call now the POCs. It seems to be pretty good, not just for POCs, but all Americans, right up until the coronavirus pandemic.
Right.
So, again, we'll take another category here. Even though this fact checker brought up at the beginning saying that there was numerous false statements, and she compares it to QAnon and conspiracy theories. It took me a long time to find one where she actually said is false. So I'm going to read that to you because the White House said consumer confidence and small business confidence is at an all-time high. Again, she says false for two reasons. One, the coronavirus. Obviously, things dropped. And there's an asterisk in there. This was before the pandemic. Mm-hmm. So, number one, it was true before the pandemic. And then she compares it to something in 2000, where she says that in January and May of 2000, according to Lynn Franco, Director of Economic Indicators and Surveys, which puts out the index, that maybe it was higher back in 2000 than it is now, post-pandemic. So again, there is a false in here, just so you know. It has been fact-checked. It has been debunked if you discount the fact that they said this was before the pandemic.
What are you saying? They're saying it's false that consumer confidence is an all-time high?
Yeah, they're saying that in 2000 it was higher than it is now.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
All right.
There's a win for you, fact-checker.
There you go. There you go.
All right.
There's another category. It says, Americans now have more money in their pockets. Now, here's the thing. Just like Brian and I talk about people on the left, and we talk about people on the right, we know that these statements are not at all consuming, because some of you are watching this and saying, I don't have any money in my pocket. We're talking about overall across the board.
And again, pre-pandemic.
Yes. Trump cut red tape in the healthcare industry, providing Americans with more affordable healthcare and saving Americans nearly 10% on prescription drugs. This is important to me because if everything goes as indicated by the new regime, we're going to go back to some form of Obamacare. And if you don't have it, you can't afford insurance as it is. He's going to force you to have it. If you don't have it, you get penalized for having the insurance that you couldn't afford in the first place. Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, and healthcare is a complicated issue, but what President Trump did do, and the fact checker had to agree with it, is he tried to make drugs more transparent and easier to get from places like Canada. Those were both fact-checked true, because what you need transparency in the medical field so that you're not blindsided. When you walk into a hardware store, you're not going to buy that hammer if they tell you how much it costs after you pay for it. So what Trump put out there is that it has to be transparent. You need to know what it's going to cost going in. And the second part of that is that with pharmaceutical drugs, there was a monopoly where you had to pay these outrageous prices and the pharmacist couldn't tell you if there was a way to get it cheaper. He put in legislation that, number one, the pharmacist can tell you if there's a way to get it cheaper, and you can get it from other places now and much easier to get generic drugs. All true.
Right.
I'm going to bring up one here because along with being a racist misogynist, he was also apparently homophobic.
Yes.
But contrary to what you heard on the news recently, President Trump had the first openly gay person in his cabinet. His name was Rick Grinnell. Trump ordered Rick Grinnell, his openly gay ambassador to Germany, to lead a global initiative to decriminalize homosexuality across the globe. Basically, he was going to like these Muslim countries and some of these other countries where they're still killing people for being homosexual, and he started trying to eliminate that around the globe. So not only was he just helping America, he was trying to help people that were gay in other countries that are actually considered criminals. So what this fact checker said was Richard Grinnell is leading an effort to decriminalize homosexuality around the globe. Mr. Grinnell has said that Mr. Trump supports this effort. But then she has to put a little dig, though its existence appeared to take Mr. Trump by surprise. That's an opinion.
Yes. Yes.
We know that it didn't take Mr. Trump by surprise. He's the one who found and hired Richard Grinnell.
Right. And there's a clip out there that shows that Barack Obama and Biden, they denounced same-sex marriage. Mm-hmm. And someone asked Trump about that, and this is before he became president, so this is years ago. He said, hey, good for them. He said, personally, it's not for me. It's not for my lifestyle. I love women. But hey, for those that want to do it, I'm not going to stand in their way.
Yeah, he was the first president and only president that said he was okay with same-sex marriage. Remember, Barack Obama wasn't until the winds of, he put his finger up to the air and said,
the wokeness.
Yeah. Then he was for it. So Trump was for it from the beginning, even before he was president. So again, we're just trying to hit these things that you've been told year after year for the past 4 years that he's a racist, misogynist, homophobe, all that things. Yet, even if that were true personally, which I don't think they are, and we heard from people like, who's that football player, one of my favorite football players out there, who was at his at the RNC, does the 100 push-ups.
Oh, Herschel Walker.
Herschel Walker.
Yes.
He's known Trump for years, says he's not a racist. So, don't believe your lying eyes, what's that saying?
Right. Right.
So we just wanted to point that stuff out because that's all you hear. For those of you hearing our channel for the first time who only listen to CNN and MSNBC, the Washington Post and the New York Times, these are the ways he acted as an executive in the executive branch as president. Whether he felt personally doesn't matter. He actually did all of these things that helped all the communities that you say that he was against. So, like Cedric said earlier, he was a terrible racist. He was a terrible homophobe. He was a terrible anti-Semite because he signed 2 peace treaties, or had Israel signed 2 peace treaties with a couple Arab countries.
Brian's a Jew.
All right. Okay, so I know this is gonna go long. Please go to the link and look at these accomplishments. You can talk about them, and then that's why I gave you the fact check, because this fact checker couldn't really find anything that was untrue about these statements other than her opinion on some of them.
Okay, I just want to touch on this one really quick. It says that he had historic support for American farmers. Don't know if you guys have seen this going across the airways lately. I just heard, and I don't know the exact percentage, but I guess that Mr. Bill Gates has gained control over a vast majority of all the farmland that's in the United States.
Wow.
God help us. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But anyway, it says here, Trump successfully negotiated more than 50 agreements with countries around the world to increase foreign market access and boost exports of American agricultural products, supporting more than 1 million American jobs. So once again, this just points to the fact that when Trump said, I want to bring jobs back to America, I want to support our farmers, let's make America strong again. Not only did he say it, he did it. And then he is one of, and again, if put in the comments if we're wrong, most of the time when he says he's going to do something, he did it. And the best thing about it, he did it in the face of a lot of opposition.
Yeah. So again, there's no fact checking that's going to erase that. So, and another one, and this might be where she made a QAnon parallel. I don't know. It's a stretch. I think it was just a way to turn people off. But it said Trump signed the Allow States and Victims to Fight Online Sex Trafficking Act, or the FOSTA, which includes Stop Enabling Sex Traffickers Acts, the SESTA, which both give law enforcement and victims new tools to fight sex trafficking. Well, that sounds like a good thing to me.
That sounds good.
Right? Yeah. And she says, that is true. The bill was crafted and pushed through Congress by Representative Ann Wagner, a conservative Republican from Missouri, who thanked Ivanka Trump for advocating its passage. So, again, did a good thing. Did you ever hear about that on CNN or on MSNB hee-haw, as Larry says?
Right. Well, Brian brought up a good point. Before I came up, we started filming this. He said, well, you read some of the fact stuff, but I also found this lady who's fact-checking. And one of the caveats that she puts in almost every single thing is that, well, yeah, Trump did this, but it was with the aid of Congress or with the House or with the Senate. And me and Brian were laughing. It's like, we've never had a president that was a dictator that ran things across by himself. So, yeah, he had some aid from Congress and other people and senators.
That's what a three-prong government we have.
Right.
We have 3 branches of the government.
Hopefully we'll stay that way.
For that reason. So she's faulting him for running things through Congress. It's like she wants it to be him to be a dictator. Oh, he should have just done this by himself. That's not how it works.
That's not how it works. It's a damn shame.
And here's just one, a funny one that you probably never heard. I never heard. Trump signed a bill to require airports to provide spaces for breastfeeding moms.
Cool.
I never knew that.
Didn't know that.
Then this is what Cedric's point. She says, true, the fact checker, Congress also deserves credit for this Friendly Airports for Mothers Act. Okay, so he worked with Congress. All those things that people were saying he doesn't work with the Congress. Right here in the fact check, he did it, he signed it, and it went through Congress also. So he wasn't being a dictator about it. Again, these are things, look at these, because some of these you will never have heard for the last 4 years. Mm-hmm. If everybody would have heard all of this, I'm sure we wouldn't have had such controversy on the elections because
Right.
he did a good job. He did good things that were antithesis to a lot of conservatives because he's not your typical conservative. So he did pass bills that some conservatives didn't like. But in the broad spectrum of things, most of what he did helped people.
Right.
And what's not in here, and what Cedric and I have brought up before, he's the first president in our lifetime that did not start a foreign war.
We've it's been 50 years since we've
Yeah,
we've been in
probably
a war.
before that. But
Yeah.
so he was the first one. You never heard about that. He actually wanted to pull, troops out, get our troops out of harm's way. Like we said, he signed peace deals of things that even Kerry, what's Kerry's, the guy who ran for president?
John Kerry?
Yeah, John Kerry. So when President Trump stated at the beginning that he was going to have these peace deals signed, John Kerry, who under Obama was the, not the liaison, but anyways, John Kerry said, that can't be done, and he laughed it off. And then he got two signed. So, again, I know too little too late. We're going to have a President Biden, Harris, whichever one takes over, as of tomorrow. So that's why we did this, I guess you could say tribute or, we have to. You can't just listen to the mainstream media because to them, everything Donald Trump did was bad. Yet, go through this list and talk to your friends on the other side and say, did you know he did this? Did you know he did this? Did you know who Richard Grinnell is, for those who think that Trump is so anti-gay? Do you know do you know what he did for the HBCUs? Did he know what he did for unemployment? Again, there's too many to go through all of these, but please go through them yourself, because it's a shame that his legacy is now going to be this Capitol riot that he called peacefully. He wanted to peacefully protest. If you saw our Martin Luther King yesterday, Martin Luther King called for peaceful assembly. You can't blame somebody for a few bad people.
Right.
It's like blaming all the Democrats for all of the riots this summer. So,
Right.
Do you have any more, or you want to close it
We'll
up?
close that. Just to end real quick, like Brian said, he was a great leader. And for those of you saying, like, well, you guys are just pro-Trump. Yes, we're busted. Yes, we are. Did he do some
And
things?
remember, I wasn't at the beginning.
He wasn't at the beginning. It was the beginning. And did he do some bad things? Of course. We chose not to focus on those things because that's what you have CNN and MSNBC for. They spent the last 48 months talking about all the terrible things he did. But we want to just kind of pay a little tribute to him. And we hope in the next 48 months we can do another show like this and look at all the incredible things that the Biden-Harris ticket, or probably the Harris ticket by the time 48 months ends, that she did to help our economy.
And maybe Harris Cuomo, right?
Harris? Good Lord.
Oh wait, no, he's white.
Stop.
It would be the Harris. Who's the one who still thinks that she's the governor of Georgia, even though she lost?
Oh, jeez, I forgot. Might well just bring in Lightfoot.
They'll bring her up.
Bring Lightfoot in from Chicago.
Well, before we go, we said we were going to do this, so we're going to read a comment and thank a person for commenting.
Okay.
So we're going to read from one of our, I believe he's somebody I haven't seen come across our comments before. He goes by Wealth Mindset AAA, and he said this about the Martin Luther King video from yesterday. Go check that out. He said, very inspiring. What you want in life and how to get it depends on you. How you often think and what effort you put into and under to achieve what you want is all that matters. So again, thank you. I wish I had your name on here, but Wealth Mindset AAA, thank you for watching our episode. If you want a good non-political episode, yesterday was just all celebrating the man, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So.
I'm not going to make too much. For those of you who don't know, we also have a TikTok channel, and one of our followers, Diana M. Thank you for always following us. I'm a little irritated with you because she made a correlation between Brian and I and people that we follow, the Hodge twins, and she wanted someone to make a sticker with our likeness on it. And she said, Cedric and Brian are very good, like the Hodge twins. a little bit older than them and not nearly as buff.
Yeah, I was
Diane, don't put everything in there. You don't just leave some stuff out, but no, we do appreciate that. So we're working on the buffness. This is the year of buffness for Cedric and Brian. We should start the show
getting buff right here
30 years ago. But like Brian said at the beginning, this was a tribute to Donald Trump and to say thank you for what you did as our president the last 4 years. Look at the link yourself. Brian's going to put the link down there. Check it out. It's been fact-checked once, twice. The list has been scrubbed. Everything is true. Everything is accurate. And like I said before, we sincerely hope we can do this again in 4 years. Hopefully, Biden and Harris will do some incredible things for our country and our economy that we can brag about. But we'll see you in 48 months. Okay. And until next time, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you ring that bell, and share this video with everyone you know, especially those people who say that Trump didn't do anything. Until next time, I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian. We'll see you later.